All righty. I am so jazzed today because I have Dr. Catherine with me, who is this amazing business called Profitable Alignment. And the reason why we're having this conversation today is because she had some profound thoughts that I wanted to go into and discuss, because we're in this amazing new economic shift where people are really like kind of losing jobs on a big scale. But the interesting thing is it kind of reflects the possibility that maybe they weren't in proper alignment anyways. So here to discuss that, we're going to have a fascinating conversation about fear, and we're going to have some fun with this, is Dr. Catherine. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Portia.
I'm so jazzed to have you here today. We had a profound conversation last weekend.
And we would have kept going and going and going because we enjoyed it so much.
Yes.
Connection and insight. Absolutely.
Yes, and it was literally what connects fear and fun together. Like we were laughing, we were singing, and we were just having some amazing fun. So we thought today we would really spread that energy of fun in the face of fear, because would you agree we have a lot going on today?
Oh my gracious, it's almost ridiculous. And in some ways it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes. But and the source of it all is the fear. Now, I love what you said, because you made a post, and this is where another reason why we had this conversation, that fear is not bad. But I think sometimes the bigger conversation is that people aren't using the fear in the right way. And as a result, they're instead of leveraging their passion and their purpose, they're leveraging destruction and kind of inner dying because they're not clear on how to leverage that fear. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to have a candid conversation, and my name is Portia. I'm the host of this candid conversation that I just got inspired to create because a lot of amazing people like Catherine are out there making a huge difference with their work. So tell us a little bit about, if we can go into this a little bit, what started this shift into really helping people get aligned with who they are? Because this is where fear starts to dismantle and go the wrong way if they're not aligned. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have been trying for many years, at least since high school, to be my best self and to become the person I wanted to be. And just like everybody else who is trying to be more than he or she thought he or she could be, there was a lot of fear, and there were a lot of things holding me back. And I just kept working and kept trying. And I remember in 2017, when I so much wanted to have a bigger influence on the world and create a bigger positive impact, it suddenly clicked in my mind, my story matters. I may not have overcome some of the losses that you find out there, but I have overcome, and my story matters. And it has become a process of aligning myself and with what I want. And I had to learn over all of my decades on this earth how to reframe my past, recognizing that my past has brought me here, but that I can look at it through a different lens and rewrite my present so that I can redesign my future. And that's exactly what I now am trying to bring to the world. And most especially, I work with women, because there's so much that we as women need to reframe if we want to recognize how powerful we truly are, so that we can then design the futures that we want and that we want to help the people whom we love design. And that's how it all has come into being, that now that is my focus in the world. It's to create that empowerment.
Yes, and and there was this huge conversation because I opened up a can of worms when I basically made a post about fear. And I'm like, wow, I love the profound statement that you made, that it's okay, but the challenge is we have people utilizing fear the wrong way. And
Mhm.
it's not a bad thing. And I just kind of want to bring to the conversation what's happening now. We've had a society that has been impacted by what's happened with coronaviruses. Businesses have been shut down. Some of the mom and pop shops have been affected. Some of the people who are working for smaller businesses have been impacted. And we have a huge job loss. And then you add to that just uncertainty and that fear leveraged the wrong way. An incident where a young Black gentleman was basically subdued, and then as a result of the way he was subdued, he died, and it sparked anger. And so you have people who are leveraging fear the wrong way, and as a result, just even causing even more destruction to our economy and the economic purpose that certain businesses were established. So, can you tell us a little bit about some of the? Had this amazing talk about some of the quotes that you found, and can you share a little bit more about those quotes, and then share the quotes, because it just really had an inspirational impact on me.
I will try to condense because I always have so much that I can say about fear and the purpose of fear. And what I have discovered both through other people and through myself is that fear has a purpose. Its purpose is to make you aware of what is going on. It is to make you aware of what you can do next. Way back in the generations at the beginning of mankind, fear was a protection, a physical protection. And as we've come through the generations, fear still can provide a physical protection, it can provide an emotional protection, but really it is to open your eyes to what's around. And I see fear as an opportunity to say, okay, there's something that is scary to me. What can I do about it? What about it is causing me fear? Now, one of the coaches that I follow, he's become a friend and a mentor. His name is Jake Ballantyne. He says, you hear people say, feel the fear and do it anyway. He says, feel the fear and do it because you feel the fear. Exactly.
Yes.
I loved it when he said it, because if you recognize the fear, there's something that needs to change. Because I feel that fear, something needs to change. Because I recognize it, I can change it. This young man who was subdued and as a result died, as you said, he's created a whole lot of fear. Again, Jake Ballantyne happened to be interviewing Les Brown yesterday. And many people know Les Brown because he's this phenomenal motivational speaker, but he's a motivational person. And he grew up a Black man in the 60s, and I think even the 50s. And he grew up where racial oppression was so strong that he could not drink from a drinking fountain that was labeled for whites only. And his mother taught him, yes, there are people out there who fear, and there are people who use that fear to abuse and oppress. And she said, don't you be one of them. Her message to him and his message to the world is, don't you be one of them. If you fear, you go out, you make the change, you make the difference, and you can positively influence and impact the world. That's what he has spent his whole life doing. And he's one of the best-hearted, kind, motivational men out there. And it's because he felt the fear and did it because. And he went out and made the change.
And that's so touching, because he also said something about, he shared a story about a particular tree that actually takes 7 years to bloom. And, when you think about something taking that long, and you think about an individual working that long to accomplish something, And some societal norms are like, that's crazy. I give up. But the truth of the matter is, it's in that process where you are like, you're planting that seed, you're watering that seed, you're cultivating that seed, and there's a process of growth that happens. And we kind of bring that back into this conversation about fear, and we realize that we've got to make that shift inside, and there's a process that happens. And yes, we may get angry about certain things, but we've got to look at that as a way to find a way to give back and help more people, not necessarily to cause destruction, because there is no destruction doesn't bear good fruit.
Exactly. And even anger itself, just the emotion anger, is not in and of itself a bad thing. Again,
Right.
Anger is an awareness. There's a reason for you to be angry, and it's how you handle it. Are you angry and then you choose to go out and destroy because you're angry, which usually creates more anger both in you and the people around you? Or are you angry and so you're going to make it different for the people who follow you and even for you tomorrow? Because you're angry, because you hurt, and because other people got hurt. And that anger is going to cause you to make a change in you and in the people around you. It's the anger itself is not bad. It's what you do with it. What does it inspire you to fix?
Yes, I love that, because this is where you can wake up. And I kind of use this expression a lot because of the fact that a lot of people, they wake up out of bed and they don't feel that sense of purpose. So they don't want to get out of bed. They're not driven by anything that will cause a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I love how you're kind of putting two things together that are usually leveraged the wrong way: fear and anger. So we're kind of learning and getting a sense of that from fear. If you leverage it the right way and really listen into what the fear is actually telling you,
Mm-hmm.
there may be some purpose in that. There may be a need for education because you may not know enough about something. There might be a need to practice. Right?
That's one thing that I've often needed is practice. Yes.
Yes, and then the anger. If you take that fear and anger and you learn how to marry it together, because there's a principle that talks about being angry, but don't use that to sin. Don't use that to cause challenges or problems. Use it to make a difference. Because you can be angry about something and use that as internal motivation and a drive to go out there and make a difference, create something, start a cause where people get to make more of a difference and have a bigger impact. That is what's needed today, because we have a lot of reasons to use fear the wrong way, a lot of reasons to use anger the wrong way, but through a simple education of how to use this to properly align with your cause, align with your purpose,
Exactly.
you can be set for a future that's fulfilling and leaves a legacy. So I want to kind of use that to kind of share with people how they can begin to start uncovering and discovering how to leverage their fear, because you offer sessions, you coach. Tell us a little bit more about how you can walk people through starting the beginning of changing the way they use fear and changing the way they use anger.
I love to start people by looking at who they are. In fact, I just wrote a newsletter article and I sent it out to my audience and anybody who wants to find it on LinkedIn or Facebook, that is prompted by the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland asking her, "Who are you?" And she's so perplexed and befuddled. And that's where I like to start, because it's so easy to say, well, I'm Kyle's wife. I'm Sarah's mom. I'm an editor. I'm this, I'm that, and the other. And looking at the labels that we put on ourselves is not looking at who we are. And it causes a lot of cognitive dissonance, trying to figure out, but what do you mean I'm not what I do? No, you're not what you do. It's who you are. And how do you recognize yourself? And that can be really hard for people. So I like to ask what you like about yourself. And when I get that befuddlement, I say, okay, what does your best friend like about you? Because
I
that
love
person is your best friend for a reason. That person
yeah.
adores you and comes to you because of who you are. So when you can't find what you like about yourself and you're afraid that you are not creating value, you go to your best friend, because everybody has a best friend. Even if you think you have one friend in the world, you have one friend. And that friend is there on purpose, not only to
Yeah.
help you, but because you provide value. And that's where I like to start. And then we can get into the stories. Then we can get into, what do you enjoy? What does your day look like? What scares you and why? And what does it make you want to do? And what makes you afraid of doing it? And then jumping into it and breaking it down. I have a coach, mentor, friend. She's everything. Uh, she goes by Mama Red, and she breaks things down into your next doable step. So it comes down to, okay, so first we get to find out who you are and how you want to show up in the world. Even if your world is your nuclear family, that's still a world that is going to influence and impact. And what's your next doable step to recognize that what you're doing in that world has a bigger effect? And how can we help you get over the fear that's holding you back and turn it on its ear so that it's fear that pushes you to action, even if it's just your next doable step? And I put just in quotes, because your next doable step is going to be huge once you do it.
Yes, and I love how you're starting, because it's like actually when you look at a baby, they actually, you don't see a baby coming out the womb and automatically walking. There's a baby step every day towards their growth. And of
Mhm.
course, as a mother, you're feeding them and you're nurturing them so that they can make those steps. So
Mhm.
I love how you just basically gave people a simple way to start. And the biggest thing is, who is really kind of taking a look at who are they without the title. Because I know it's interesting that you go there, because I had that conversation with myself, because yes, I'm a realtor, but that's not who I am.
Mhm. Yep, you're a realtor because of what's in your heart. You're a realtor
Yes,
because of how you want to help people. And that was
yes,
one of the avenues that you found to express yourself and express your desire to help and express your desire to connect. You are one of the connection queens. And
yes.
that is one of the, seriously, but that's one of the reasons that you've become a realtor, because it's an opportunity to connect. When you and I first met in 2017, it was because you wanted to connect people. It's,
Yes.
you're a maven when it comes to connections. It's what you do.
Thank you so much. And and I love how because there may be people watching right now who are kind of in this stage where they don't know what they want to be when they grow up, what to call themselves. It really kind of sets the tone for, let's not worry about that. Let's focus on who you are first, and then we'll add a title later. Because I think that's a big thing that people in transition struggle with. Who are
Mm-hmm,
they?
mm-hmm,
How can they apply themselves because of who they are? And
mm-hmm,
and that's where we really start to look at your life's work, your purpose. Why do you get out of bed in the morning? Who do you help?
mm-hmm.
And really make a difference from there. And then we could add the title later.
So
you
I'm,
know?
I'm 45 years old, and I finally know what I want to be when I grow up.
You,
Okay.
I am 47, and I'm getting close to that 50, but 40 is fun, 50 is fun, 60 is sassy. It's all about what you decide that it's going to be. And
Mm-hmm,
that's what I love. That's with everything. It's who do you decide you're going to be? And when you make that decision, when you get the proper mentorship and the proper support to make that decision, you just go be it in the world and have some fun while you're at it.
exactly. Exactly. You feel the fear and do it because you
Yes, I
fake it
love
until
that.
you become it. Dr. Amy
Yes.
Cuddy gave a TED talk on how the way we hold ourselves affects how we feel about ourselves. And
Yes.
there's a whole, she gave a whole TED talk on it, and she's done all kinds of other things. But one of the things that she said that struck me is people say fake it till you make it. But because the way we carry ourselves and the way we behave actually affects who we become and how we
Yes.
present to the world, she says fake it until you become it. So you
I love
practice
that.
being who you want to be until you're there. And it's all
Yes.
practice.
Practice. And I'd like to end on this because for a lot of people, they don't necessarily realize, we all have a different internal dialogue about the word goal. But when you set a goal, it's really the emphasis is not so much on what you accomplish. It's on, and somebody made that quote and I have to find it, but it spoke volumes because I always struggled with that term. It's about who you get to become in that process. So if you start with fear and you start with anger and you put yourself into a position where you make a goal based on who you think you want to become when you grow up, you can start there, right?
Yep.
Then you get to become it and you get to practice and have fun. And then you can look at life's little situations and uncertainties as a reason to laugh and heal. And that is where we need to go. And who am I to tell people what to do, right? But I'm going to tell you what to do right now. Take that fear, take that anger, have some fun, and become who you're meant to be. And I
Yes.
just wanted to invite people at this point to really take a look at that and start having a dialogue with you. And we are using Zoom, not StreamYard, so I don't have the web address, but I'm going to play a little bit with the video and add the web address to this. But I just want to invite you, dare you, challenge you, whatever your language is, to have a conversation with Catherine and really discover who you could be leveraging your fear and anger the right way. And I just wanted to also share a famous tagline because you actually hit on it. There is always a way to win when you partner with the right friend. And right now in this time, when you're facing fears and you're not using them the right way, you may want to find out how you can align with who you are so that you can begin to take and turn your passion or your message or your mission into profit. So,
Yes.
Catherine, Dr. Catherine, thank you so much for enlightening us and educating us on how to use fear and anger, because right now there's misinformation and not enough education on how to use it. So thank you for having that conversation with us.
Portia, thank you for the invitation to have the conversation. As you can see, it lights me up. I love being able to turn things on its ear and help people out. So thank you.
I love it. Awesome.